And we are live, guys. Welcome to another live stream from the Women of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. Today we are going to react to a reaction. I thought that would be fun. This is basically a couple named the Ellises, and they were talking about monogamy and relationships and how sex is after you get married, etc. And there's a lot of people that have reacted to them in the past. This is actually about 9 months ago that this happened. So I'm a bit late. That's okay. And this guy, Ascended Kin, have never watched this video before, but I want to see his reaction and how he interprets what they're saying to each other. And so let's just get started.
What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Omri, representing the Ascended Kin channel, hitting you back with another video. Now, this video was slid into my DMs, guys, and I was told I gotta cover it. Apparently it's a hot topic, so without further ado, guys.
Where was I 8 months ago? Why didn't I cover it? Good question. Okay, where are the DMs, guys? I need some help, some reaction videos for me to, you know, what's hot, what's out there, what's happening, so that I can react to it on time.
Let's get down to the video.
I am not allowed, based on our marriage laws and the contract we signed with each other, to have sex with anybody else.
Right.
So these urges that come, I have to share them with the one person I decide to spend the rest of my life with.
Right.
All right, let's see. Yeah, it's full volley.
So that brings me back to my soundbite.
Okay.
Right. I don't understand, and this is what we can discuss. As a woman, because I don't want to say it's a man versus woman thing, but a lot of women do complain, oh, my husband's always on me. Why is he always on me?
You see that this actually happens to everyone, okay?
If sex is going to be a chore for you that you don't really want to do, why do women constantly push monogamy on men? If you know that you don't want to have to deal with him all the time just wanting you, why do you push monogamy on men?
Well, who's to say I pushed anything on anybody?
Now, I'm gonna start right here. I'm gonna address what he said first. I find it interesting that that was his angle. The first thing he says is, why do women push monogamy on men? Now, granted, I understand in the Western culture, it is more common for a woman to want to push monogamy, whether that's marriage or relationship.
Common for hundreds of years. It was law that was the only thing that was allowed. It's literally only in the last, 100 years where it's basically allowed to sleep with people that you're not married to. I mean, there's some offshoot religious practices here and there that did, other things. But in general, mainstream in society, you couldn't do anything else than monogamy for hundreds of years because of religious beliefs and practices. So this is very new in at least in the Western culture. Now, if we go before then, okay, like to African tribes and basically, societies that happened before today's society, okay, then actually polygamy was the norm. That was the traditional way of doing things. So, because that was in our nature. Interesting how that works. But, yeah.
On a man, it is more common. However, it does go both ways. So I feel as though he did phrase the question that way because he already knows that by asking the question, it's a very dangerous ground to walk on. So by phrasing it that way, he's setting himself up for hopefully that when she responds, she can't really give him a very concrete answer. But we'll see.
Well, we know that you pushed monogamy on me.
I pushed monogamy. I forced you to get married to me?
Time out. I didn't say you forced me to get married, but did you not say to me that you wanted to be engaged and you wanted to be married before you lived with me? You didn't say that?
I want $1 billion. That don't mean I'm going to get it. I can want something,
asking,
but not.
You right now, you're dodging the question.
Nobody pressed you to do it. Yes.
You know what? I'm going to give him that one. In a way, she is dodging the question. He asked her a straight question. Did you push monogamy on me? First thing she does is deflect. And I'm sorry, but again, a lot of times when you are talking to a woman and you are asking them a direct question, they are going to gaslight or deflect.
Why do women do this? Because it is literally blaming them. Women are designed inherently to not accept any form of blame directly. Okay? So no matter what you say to a woman, if you're blaming her, either directly or indirectly, she will respond negatively. Always. They're all wired this way. So we need to understand how that functions. Both you as a woman to know that, oh, I react like that every single time I'm blamed. Interesting. Okay, now you might react very quickly and have difficulties with the blame that you receive, but afterwards you're going to think about it. If the other person has basically completely rejected you, and you're going to think about it for a long period of time, maybe even the rest of your life, unfortunately. Okay, but in general, men should never ever blame women. It's a lost cause. It's a lost game because men are the ones that are responsible for everything that goes wrong in the relationship, always, okay? Because women inherently know this, and men should inherently know that it's all their fault because they are the leaders. Leader, follower. Leader, follower. Leader takes the blame, takes the responsibility. Follower excitedly follows as a result, okay? But it's a bit tricky, okay? But I'm not going to go into that right now. But we're talking here in terms of, yes, when a woman asks or says that she wants a man to commit to her in monogamy, it's not forcing it on him. He's able to choose himself if he wants to marry her or not. Like, why are you blaming this on your woman, bro? Like, that doesn't make any sense. You proposed to her and wanted her to be your wife. So you need to know the ramifications of that choice. You can't put that on, and blame that on your wife.
One of the two. But who knows? Maybe she didn't understand the question. Give her the benefit of the doubt. You never know. But, let me just point something out too. Even if she didn't understand the question, come on now. Women know that they are usually the ones that push monogamy first. Unfortunately, that's how it is. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but that's usually how it goes. Simple question. Come on now, let's get to it.
Is that something I want?
They push monogamy, or they say that basically, if you want me, this is how it's going to be. And then men basically have to make the choice. Am I going to commit to this woman for life, or am I not going to? And men, if they really like the girl, they're going to try and commit for life because they want to settle down and have family and have kids because they want this woman to be the mother of their children, okay? So, but it's still the man's fault that he proposes and that he goes through with it, always.
Wanted, yes, it was, but
you didn't impress me. Are you gonna lie now
So
to
you're
the
gonna
people
say-
because we talking about sex?
Deval,
You're gonna
Deval.
lie now to the people?
DeVal, knowing
Kadeen,
a
you didn't want
strong-
monogamy?
Of course I did.
So then why are you avoiding the question?
That's not avoiding the question. I'm saying, does that mean because I wanted and I requested that you were going to deliver it? Like, nobody pressed you for that.
Talking about, you just said you wanted it and requested it. Do you not hear yourself?
I can make a request.
Okay. I gotta say this though. First of all, I gotta back up a little bit. Just a little bit. What is this on this man's head? Is that supposed to be like a full erection? What?
Can make a request. Is the request going to be granted?
Am I
That's
not?
up to
Am
you,
I?
bro.
Am I not granting you monogamy?
You are granting it to
So
me.
this is my question.
Look
This
at
is my
you
question.
always. Look at your boy. Look at your boy.
This is my question. If you wanted monogamy,
Okay.
why would you want monogamy if sex is a chore for you? That's the question. You're avoiding the question.
I'm not avoiding the question, but at first you said women, or in general me specifically, are pushing monogamy on somebody. Okay, yes, that's something that I wanted, but I didn't press you for it and be like, DeVal, hold a gun to your head to propose to me.
Time out.
Okay, so that's not really what he's asking. He asks it wrong and offends her in the process. This is what men do, by the way, very often. And he asked it in such a way that created an emotional response from her when he simply wants to know, why is it that women want monogamy? It's a fair question. Why do they... Like, see, that's a question that doesn't produce a negative reaction in a woman. Saying to a woman, why did you push monogamy on me? That's a question that women react to. You see that? Blame, and the other one is an objective question where they have to think and like, that's a good question. Why do women do that?
Also, let me finish. Also, I don't feel like I was adequately prepared for marriage. And
Okay, two things here. Two things. One, I want to say this. I find it interesting that she did ask him the question, did I force you to get married to me? And even though he's saying she's avoiding the question, he's actually doing the same thing. It's a very simple question. Yes, she may have pushed him for marriage, and I'm 99% sure she did. That's usually how it goes. But there is one thing I'm always going to say.
There's no pushing towards marriage, bro. Like, everyone goes to the altar voluntarily. No one's putting a gun to your head. If it's an arranged marriage, it's a little bit tricky because the parents might be like very societally pushing her to do something that she might not want to do. But we're kind of past those days in 99.9% of the world. Let's say 99, 95, India. You know, there's a lot of arranged marriages still there. But do you get what I'm saying? Like, no one's forcing anyone to do anything they don't want to do marriage-wise.
Whether it is marriage or a relationship, there is always a choice. Clearly, whatever she had to offer him or whatever he wanted from her, he was not going to continue to get unless he put a ring on it. I haven't even gone through the whole video, and I bet you that's what it's getting to. But we're about to see. We're about to see. Keep going.
Said that before, because if I knew that marriage and monogamy was going to involve me trying to meet you where you were at sexually for years to come, then I probably would have reevaluated if I wanted to be monogamous anyway.
And now for the second point. She says she feels like she wasn't adequately prepared for marriage. And here's the thing. I know a lot of people are going to say, come on, how do you not know that sex is one of the major things that people need in a relationship? We're not even talking about marriage. We're just talking about a simple relationship. Even in modern day dating in the West, people want sex in their relationship. Like, that is a basic human need. That's a God-created need.
Yes. But in dating, you should never, ever, 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 ever have sexual relationships with the person that you've not committed to for life. Okay? I'm saying this as basically an offshoot of the mainstream. Mainstream saying that that's normal. That's a need. Everyone needs it. I mean, what the frick? I'm saying, no, you don't. Actually, one, if you as a man choose to stop masturbating and stop ejaculating, you won't have that need, okay, to have sex with anyone, okay? You'll want to, but you won't need it, okay? And for women, they actually need it more than men do because, you know, like, men can stop ejaculating and then suddenly they don't have that urge, that massive urge anymore, other than a real desire to do so. Women, over time, they need it, okay? And it becomes a very big problem for them if they don't have it over a long span of time. But, yeah, in general, that is how the norm is in today's world. And yes, in marriage, that's the expectation that men go into the marriage with, that they are going to have complete open sexual access to their woman for the rest of their lives. You're not, okay? Like, you know that literally there's a lot of marriages where men are accused of rape inside their marriage. So, no, you can't just, anytime you desire it, just because you're married. It doesn't work like that. You can't force emotional things, which means that she has a say whether she wants to or not at any given point in time. And monogamy has created or is in a such... Women in monogamy have the predicament that monogamy causes them to be less attracted to their spouse automatically, inherently, just by the default aspect of monogamy. Monogamy causes men to have no options. No options cause men to be a lesser option for her. Okay, so no woman is attracted to her man. There might be women that are attracted to him, but they never say that to her, because if they do, then she becomes like a bit offended and a bit scared, like, what are you going to try and take my man? And as a result, she never knows of any other woman that's interested in her man. And that's a problem, because women thrive on hearing that her man is a catch. And there's very few, okay, women far between who have those types of men who are in leadership positions where the women know that this guy is desired by other women. That's very few select men, okay? And at the same time, when you're in the home, the vast majority of the time, you won't see women talking about your man anyway. And women, you know, they're in the now creatures, so they forget, you know? Even if your husband is a rock star, or Grant Cardone, or whatever celebrity you could choose, or Justin Bieber, for crying out loud, you, as a wife, will forget the fact that he is actually, like, someone that millions of women would want to be with if it was possible. But you, as a woman, don't think about that when he sucks in the home and can't do the dishes properly. You know? And it's like, what? Who is this powerless dude that I married? You know what I mean? Anyway.
But I will give her this, though. The average person is not adequately prepared for marriage. And what I mean is, a lot of men and women do not understand what a marriage entails. They think, a lot of people think that it's one person here and one person here, and they're just living in the same bubble. That's not how it works. It's literally supposed to be a unity. Two people combining as one. You meet that person where they're at, and vice versa. But some people don't get that yet, right? So I'll give her the benefit of the doubt because again, I would say it is very common that people do not understand what a marriage entails. But let's go.
So that's fair, but we're not even talking about marriage. Let's even talk about dating, right?
Okay.
Two people are dating. Typically in society, who asks for exclusivity first, a woman or a man?
I would say a woman.
Thank you. That was my whole point. See, you were going all over the place. If women typically ask for exclusivity first, then when they get exclusivity, say, he always on me, he always want to have sex. Why are we asking men for exclusivity if we do not want to participate in sex at the same level as men? We have to think about what that does to a man, and I don't think that conversation is being had.
Okay, I agree. And that part I agree with. Yes, that women are typically the ones that will ask for the exclusivity. I get that, yes.
Do you see the difference in how he phrased the question now compared to what he did before? It's so funny, like, if you understand how that works. I mean, I make these mistakes all the time. Like, if you see my videos on the Women of High Value channel, I say stuff all the time that women get upset with, okay? But in general, I should understand enough for me to be able to help them hear the message they want to hear or phrase questions in a way that they want to listen more. It's funny.
But what I'm saying is, me as a woman, I don't think that I was necessarily prepared or in the mindset to know that. It's almost like once you get into it, then you're like, oh shoot, like this is what I'm going to have to keep up.
And you see, that's a fair point. I'm going to give her that one again because even again, the most people, they get into a relationship and they are not prepared for what a relationship really entails. They are just going through the motions and then they're just kind of hoping it just falls into place.
You know what actually happens when a couple gets married? Before marriage, there was no problem. He wanted to have sex, and guess what? He had other options. He could dump her. There was no massive lifelong commitment going on, and she wanted to keep him. And she was also attracted to him because he had a lot of power in the relationship because he could leave at any moment in time. There were other girls that might be interested in her, in him. And so there was always like this, I haven't gotten him yet type of aspect. So when a woman has that psychology going on, then she's going to be more interested in having sex with her, with her boyfriend, okay? I'm not saying that it's a good thing to do. Never ever do it. But I'm just saying from her standpoint or from any woman's standpoint who is in a relationship where there is sex involved, then the woman will very easily be attracted to and desire to have it if they don't live together. If they're living together, you've created a little bit more commitment now than when you were just boyfriend and girlfriend. Okay, so the infatuation stage, it decreases by the increase of commitment. Okay, higher the commitment, this is monogamy only I'm talking about. Higher the commitment, the lower the infatuation. Okay, more commitment from the man, less interested in the man the woman becomes. Like from an attraction aspect standpoint. Monogamy only. Which is a problem, right? Because the man is thinking, oh my gosh, this is amazing being with her. I absolutely love it, blah, blah, blah. And then he commits, which is what a woman wants him to do because she doesn't want him to be roaming around on the streets and, have other options than her because then she might lose him in this monogamous world that we live in. It's not monogamous, right? There's massive serial monogamy, lots of polyamory, a lot of crazy stuff happening, but we kind of live in a monogamous world, right? So she wants exclusivity. Now she's less attracted to him as a result. But he still gets more than what he gets in monogamy. He doesn't know what's coming for him in marriage once the kids come. And then he gets married and then it gets worse. Like it literally becomes a sexual desert of sorts. This happens in the vast majority of marriages. And men don't know this. Men believe that I'm going to have sex with this woman for the rest of my life. And they think that it's going to be like every day, at least multiple times a week. And a lot of times, they can go weeks and months without anything. And if that guy ejaculates on a continual basis, he masturbates on his own, he watches porn on his own, he's going to be a very unhappy camper because he's hypersexualized in addition to the fact that the woman doesn't want him. And the more he wants it, the less the woman's going to want it. So it really creates a lot of discord in marriages because they can't meet when the man is hypersexualized and the woman is completely turned off inherently by monogamy. but even more so from the fact that he wants her so much. And she has so many other things on her plate, which a lot of the times are excuses to replace the fact that she's just not attracted at all and doesn't want to have sex with him. Even if she had all of the time in the world, no commitment, no nothing. The very fact that he wants her more than she wants him is a massive turnoff.
They don't have any real guidance in their life. They don't have any leaders, parents, mentors in their life showing them what a marriage or relationship should truly look like. And even if they don't, most people, they don't even try to go and like find out what they should be doing. So I'll give her that. And I thought, again, one funny thing too I noticed is, he's trying to talk about women in general. She's trying to talk about just herself. And mind you, he is asking a general question. I do also believe that it's targeted at her. So realistically, she can only answer the question for herself at this point.
And women also personalize every single thing that a man says about women in general.
But let's continue.
Up with.
I get that.
Us speaking as 36-year-old people know that now. Had I known that at 26,
I get that.
I would have to contend with that. Even in the dating realm, then it might have been something I would have reevaluated.
So now let's go back to what you asked me. You said to me you never pressured me to get married. In 2007, we were living together, right? You said you no longer wanted to live with me and shack up with me because you wanted to be my wife, not my girlfriend.
Right, because I wanted to know where the
that don't
relationship
sound like
was going.
pressure to you?
It sounds like me voicing where I see my life going.
Oh my gosh, why are you bringing this up again? You guys were on a roll, and now you begin to blame her again.
It sounds like me saying this is what I would like. You can decide to meet me there. If not, we can reevaluate what exactly we're doing.
Okay.
Okay, and you see, some people will immediately jump the gun and say, oh, you're giving him an ultimatum. That's control, and that's pressure. Look, guys, I don't care if you're the man in the situation or a woman. When you guys are in the dating phase and you're kind of navigating your relationship, it doesn't matter if an ultimatum is pushed. I really believe that when you're in a relationship and you're not married yet, that is the best time for ultimatums, because you guys are now getting to understand what kind of people you are, where you're let's say, again, I'm not gonna get to that point yet, but where you emotionally are at, where you plan to be in the next couple of years. Those are things that you guys should have been discussing since the beginning of your relationship and during. So clearly she wanted to be married. It's very clear. So it appears, based on what I'm hearing, he was happy just shacking up with her.
And that's what men normally do these days. Why put a ring on it when there's all these risks involved in getting the government participating in your relationship, and also the aspects of there's so much responsibility and commitment in that marriage bond, okay, that men just simply don't see it as a viable option very often these days. There's a lot of men that still do, but men who've actually been around, they understand that I don't, marriage monogamy, it doesn't really sound very awesome to me. And actually, it's been like that a very long time. We've come to a point these days that women actually are like, no, I don't really like marriage, and I don't want monogamy either, because they've become so masculine themselves. It's kind of warped, but it is what it is.
For those of you who are from the Caribbean or, say black families, that's usually a big no-no. You ain't shacking up with nobody until you're married to them. So in a real sense, he sounds like he was surprised to hear this kind of information. I'm like, come on now. Come on, buddy. Come on. But let's continue.
Would I call it pressure per se? Not necessarily pressure.
It is pressure. But you don't want to say it's pressure. What about being engaged?
You might have felt pressure.
What about being
no
engaged?
Pressure behind it.
I said, we don't got to rush to get married. You said, I don't want to be engaged longer than a year. Is that not pressure?
I'll answer his question. It is only pressure if you as the individual do not want to get married. If you actually know you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody, and somebody actually approaches you and says, hey, I want to be your wife, I want to be your husband, you would not feel pressure. You would be overjoyed to hear that information.
Exactly.
Whenever I hear somebody say that they feel pressured to get married, especially if they've been together for X amount, 7 years, 8 years, and they're still not even engaged, that tells me one thing. You do not want to be with that person as a life partner. I'm talking about marriage for whatever reason, whether that is because you want to protect your finances, whatever, maybe because you still want to explore. I don't care what the reason is. Clearly, there are things inside of you have not worked out. But again, I noticed that he's not saying that. And again, I'm not taking sides here, but I'm a realist. I'm the type of person where I look at both sides of the situation, and I'm never going to be that type of YouTuber where just because there's a lot of men's issues going on, I'm not going to address the reality of a situation. And clearly in this situation, it seems to me like he was not ready for marriage. He wasn't prepared for it.
So why did he enter it? That was his fault for doing that.
Not that kind of commitment. It's obvious at this point. But let's continue.
That's me voicing my opinion about it.
Sounds like pressure to me. So you say you want to be engaged, I get engaged. You say you want to be married within a year. We do that. We get married, then you make it seem like sex is a chore to your husband. Once again, I ask the question.
I was so interested in how was your sex life before you got married? Was there a massive difference?
Why do women who push forth monogamy on the man they're dating then get overwhelmed when that man who tries to provide that monogamy to you? Why do you get upset when we're trying to be what you want us to be? You don't want me to be with no one else, right? Right? I'm asking. This is a serious
Right,
question.
yes,
You don't want me
absolutely.
to be with no one else.
Absolutely.
So if I decide that all this testosterone I have, I want to give to you, why is it so overwhelming now? This is what you asked for.
Again, 26 and 27-year-old Kadeen was like, okay, here's the natural succession of life. You graduate, you're working, you meet somebody, you guys are dating. You want children.
Yes.
I want children.
Yes.
We don't want to wait too long or too late to have children.
Yes.
Though now a lot of people are waiting until their 30s to have
Yes,
children.
and I understand why.
And we at that time felt like, well, we're doing everything in this natural succession that the forces that be have given us this timeline.
The forces that be.
Look, she's deflecting again, and she's dodging the reality of the question. Because she knows if she really was to answer the question the way that he clearly wants to hear, it would make her look bad. Because she's going to have to say one of a few things. Her sex drive is low, which makes her look bad. She's not really attracted to him anymore.
Both of those are completely correct, by the way. Okay? But yes, it would make her look bad, but more importantly, it's not her fault though. Although it might make her look bad in other people's eyes. But in general, it would also create my husband is low value, which lowers her status at the same time. So a woman doesn't ever want to say something about her man that tears him down in public. It's really difficult to do a relationship podcast and you know, publicly explain what's going on in the bedroom. Like, hats off to them for doing that, by the way. But yeah, deflecting. Is she really deflecting? Is he asking the question properly though? Like, it's just a sign that he doesn't understand female nature and why she doesn't want to have sex with him. That's the real problem here, that the guy is just asking the question, why are you not attracted to me anymore? That's really the question he's asking. And I had the exact same question 3 years after we had been married. And my wife was giving me, you know, sexuality continuously every week, you know, and I wasn't lacking, so to speak, but she wasn't excited. She wasn't fired up outside her brain. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, am I lacking somewhere? And I was beginning to like, what do I need to learn sexually to spice things up, you know? But then it came to the point where I was just like, oh, most of the, you know, it's all in the preparation for sex. It's not really sex that's, you know, although there's definitely techniques and things that you can learn in the bedroom, but it's really all about what happens outside the bedroom that prepares a woman's mind, her heart, and her body for what's going to happen inside the bedroom. And then I discovered that actually what happens outside the bedroom is monogamy. That's what we've got to play with here. And monogamy is not very conducive for a woman to be fired up and turned on and excited about her man at all. So that's led us on a path to begin to understand the female psyche, because I was just wondering, curious, just like the guy right here asking, why? Why aren't you fired up outside your brain? It's me we're talking about here, right? You know, like, this guy probably has self-esteem like I do, and just wondering, like, you had that attraction before we got married. We didn't have sex before we got married. We were both, yeah. So, but basically, you get what I'm saying? So anyway.
Or she's too busy, which again, people are going to speculate, okay, this girl's clearly lying. Again, no matter how she answers that question, she is going to make herself look bad and potentially other women. But I want to address one thing that I notice nobody ever wants to talk about. If you spend most of your relationship having sex, okay, again, outside of a marriage, one of the things that will happen is when you get into a marriage, again, the sex is no longer new. It's no longer exciting because you've been doing it for who knows how many years, and now you're married. right? So even if we're not taking sex drive into the equation, you have already taken something away from your marriage, right? And not only that, there is something else too that I noticed he's not saying.
It's not just the fact that that you've had sex for a long period of time with the same person. Okay? Sex can be absolutely amazing, even with the same person for years and years and years and years. The problem is monogamy. The problem is her not being fired up. Okay? If a woman is fired up outside her brain, always, continuously, about the guy that she's with, okay, that's the problem. It's not the sex is the problem. It's the woman being fired up outside her brain about her man. If we can fix that, then attraction would be happening. Then she would be loyal, because obsession equals loyalty. Then they would be having sex and it would be amazing. For 40, 50, 60 years until they both die, okay? You can't have that in monogamy, unfortunately. It's not designed to be like that in monogamy. It's almost as if the universe created women in such a way that they want monogamy, okay? They think. That's what their heart is telling, because they don't want to share. But then they suddenly, once they understand that, wow, when I share a man, that's when I get fired up outside my brain about him. He becomes this wow guy that I need to be with. Okay? I wasn't sexually involved before I got married, but I had options. There was other women potentially wanting to be together with me. This is one of the reasons, if not the only reason, why my wife ended up becoming my wife, because she wanted to have me, because she knew that other women wanted me. Okay? So that it works like that. But if you have that in marriage, or in a lifelong committed relationship for life, and it's not poly, because poly, in my opinion, does not work for the female psyche very well, because there's no boundaries. I know poly people will say that, oh, but there's definitely boundaries and you can create your own boundaries for yourself. I'm saying that you want to create an environment that's conducive for kids, okay? You want to have a steady nuclear family where the women know what's what, and they have an amazing relationship with each other that's deep forever. You don't want to have people come in and out of your life for the rest of your life, okay? That's what poly people do, completely against it. What I'm for is 3 in love, okay? One man, trustworthy, honest, loyal, and has a very strong financial foundation, and 3 women. That's what we share on this channel. If you want more information, you just got to check out the rest of the channel, subscribe and like, and you'll find a lot more.
And I'm surprised that she hasn't mentioned it yet. At least not directly. He was clearly sleeping with her before they got married. Her sex drive, clearly, he should have figured that out long ago. If this man knew that this girl didn't have a sex drive and, he wanted to scoop the honey pot 24/7, why'd you get married to her? You could have turned away. You could have said, I'm not interested. I love you, I care about you, but I need a woman that needs to put out at least 2 or 3 times a day.
Except for the fact that maybe she was at that time. But it's just that once you get into monogamy and you begin to have kids, especially once you begin to have kids, that evaporates. It disappears. She changes. No, she doesn't change. It was the fact that he put her in monogamy that made her attraction for him change. And now she's not attracted anymore and she doesn't want to do it.
I got all of this, what he say, testosterone inside of me. Yeah, if you knew you needed a woman like that, again, I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying that I understand that that's how he's living. Get a woman that can meet you at that level.
No.
But
there is no woman that can meet you at that level. There is no woman that can meet you at that level. And then there's women that will say, oh no, but I want sex all the time. Every single day if I can, blah, 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 blah. With a married, when you're married to a guy, really? No. Give me one woman that wants to do that all the time, every single day, or as often as a hypersexualized guy, okay? Someone who needs to ejaculate every single day. A woman who wants that with the same guy every single day for the rest of their lives. That woman doesn't exist because monogamy doesn't create that kind of woman, okay? Now, if you're having sex outside of marriage, that might be a possibility. And I've heard stories of women who want sex a lot. Sometimes even more than the man. And the man just taps out and he's like, no, I'm out of here. I can't handle how much you want it, okay? But if that same woman had been in monogamy with that guy, okay, in living together with kids, with responsibilities, with incomes and whatever needs to happen, everything would have switched. Everything would have changed, and she would not be the same woman anymore as a result. That's what monogamy does for you. I highly, highly do not recommend that you sleep with anyone outside of a lifelong commitment. I highly recommend 3 in love with the man who receives a stamp of approval, and that you only sleep with one man for the rest of your life if you're a woman. That's what I recommend. That's the path towards joy, bliss, and happiness. So that you got your 2 best friends, okay? Women need other women so that you can enjoy your lives together.
Clearly, there was something that she provided him that was more important to him than sex at the time. Clearly. That, or he's desperate or doesn't have any options. I mean, I doubt that, but anyway, let's continue. The video's almost done, guys. Let's not run it up too long.
However, I did not realize that after having children, after, career changes, all of the turbulences that we've been through in life, that was going to have a direct effect on my sex drive.
Well, that's it, guys. That's it. And what I want to say is this. Something she said at the end where she's talking about things that affected her sex drive. Granted, yes, it's those things probably did play a factor into the relationship. There's one thing I really want to end with, because it's something that I think a lot of people forget. When you're in a relationship, when you're in a marriage, it is about compromise. Granted, yes, both of them could have walked away from the situation before they got married. They could have. But there's something she said that I think is actually a fair point. She didn't realize that all these things going on would affect her sex drive. There's something you have to always remember. You will not always get what you want in your partner. That being said, when you get into a marriage, if you notice that things are not in the relationship the way they used to be or the way you want them to be, you have 2 choices to make. You either try to fix it, or you accept the grim reality that you may never scoop the honey pot as much as you want to. That's just reality. But that's part of being in a marriage. That's part of being in a relationship, accepting that you may not get everything you want from your partner. However, husband or wife, girlfriend or boyfriend, again, I'm going to talk about marriage though. You should always be doing your best to meet your partner where they are at. So if he needs it 2 to 3 times a day, you try to meet him at that point. Do something for him. It doesn't always have to be the whole 9 yards, but try and do something. That's, again, talk about the Bible. The man belongs to his wife and the wife belongs to her man. It's real simple, guys. But it was a really good video. I'm glad this one got sent to me. I really do. It was definitely a good topic. But anyway, guys, if you guys have any
etc. etc. Seriously, I just have to say, like, yes and no. Like, really, I don't like the word compromise at all, because it means that you're both letting go of something that you should be allowed to have. One, the man, yes, he should be allowed to have sex when he wants it, when he feels he needs it, but we've got a problem, and the man very often doesn't know this, that he's hypersexualized because he ejaculates every single time he has sex, or he watches porn or masturbates when he's not having sex with his wife. Which means that he's hypersexualized, which means that he needs it a lot more than a normal man who doesn't do that, okay? What's normal is not common, okay? What's common is what I just explained here, men being hypersexualized, which is a huge problem. But what's normal is for a man to contain his seed and practice SR, seed retention, so that he does not, okay, need sex as much as his wife does. Crucial. Because that allows a man to do it only when she wants it, okay? He might want it more often because of his testosterone. The more testosterone he builds, then he'll want it more often. But he doesn't really think about it as much when he's not hypersexualized. He'll be driven towards his goals instead. Hopefully, right? That's the one aspect. And the other aspect, a woman should never do anything that she does not feel like doing. Why? Because that would make her more masculine. In other words, burdened. In other words, resentment, okay? Resenting of her man and his sex. So you don't want to force a woman or tell her that, can you do this for me? Like, what the flip is that? In my opinion, that's disgusting. It's kind of like a man wanting a girl that doesn't want him. Why would he want that? Okay? You want a woman who wants you. And if she doesn't want you, then you're out of there. Right? Obviously, not in a committed, lifelong committed relationship, because you don't leave that. But if you are, I'm just explaining from the aspect of a man should go where he's wanted. Okay? But if he's committed for life, he's committed for life. Then he needs to figure it out and ask the questions of why, until he figures out the answers. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate you being here with me. I'll see you guys in the next one.